Wow, forgot how to work the camera. Between filming the video that Ian and I did today and now. Um, there are some things, because this is, this may one day grow to be a big channel. It may not. Probably not, because I don't edit anything. I don't do fancy titles, and I don't do, as a general rule, I don't edit anything. Let me clarify. Um, but I do, this is, something for Ian to go back and look at. It's something that we share. It's, we love doing this as our hobby, sharing everything. Um, if one day we make money out of it, great. If we don't, all of our needs are supplied. So anyway, I just kind of wanted to do a little story time, because my husband and I were just talking about this. And the reason why I want to do it is because I know that there are a lot of vulnerable young ladies in this world who were probably like I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I had a job, and while I worked this job, I was involved in an armed robbery. And when I tell you, literally, I'm not even joking, right here, that's as far away from my forehead, as the gun was when the person who robbed me pulled the gun. It was one of the most single traumatic events that I have had to deal with. At that point in time, there were only two of us that worked at it was a little convenience store. There were only two of us, and we had a third person that would come in now and then on the weekends and kind of give us a reprieve. We both worked 7 days a week. When the robbery happened, after the fact, I was so used to, because I did the bulk of closing, and I always called for an escort. So they would come in, a police officer would wait outside for me to get into my vehicle after I'd secured everything, and they would make sure everything was secure. So whenever everything happened, instead of calling 911, I called the non-emergency number. And I kind of laugh at it now, but it wasn't funny then, and it really isn't funny now. It was just one of those habit things. My husband and I were just talking about this, so that's why this is on my mind. And I distinctly remember, I can remember the young man's face. I can remember the trauma that it has caused me. Something that I never wanted, ever wanted to have to deal with in my life. Of course, nobody does. But the feelings and things that resulted from the behavior that this individual chose, I had to work through quite a bit, and I had to do most of it on my own, because at that point in time, I worked 7 days a week, so getting in to see a therapist, getting treatment, getting whatever, was next to impossible. I did, in order to make sure that I was giving the police as much information as possible, I did undergo hypnosis, at which point I was told, number one, that I'm a really hard person to hypnotize. The what happened more was that they tried to relax my brain and my body more so I could deal with the trauma and talk more openly. So it wasn't, I wasn't clucking like a chicken or anything like we see on TV and stuff like that, or did back in the day. But everything that I said under hypnosis was pretty much the same thing that I said, was able to remember from the actual series of events. I was just telling my husband I can remember the soda. It was a Pepsi. He got a pack of Rolos, and he wanted a pack of Newports. And when I reached up to get the pack of Newports, when I went to bring them down to put them on the counter, is when he pulled the gun. And, everything from that point on is stuff that I cannot to this day talk about. And this was in the early 90s when this happened. So my point of sharing this with you is the man that I worked for gave this many craps about my life. I didn't make enough money on the hour. I think it was $5.25 an hour. I wasn't making bank to even be there, let alone stand through an armed robbery. I left there. The other girl came in and covered my shift and cleaned up where they dusted for prints and everything like that, and reopened the store. The man lost so little money that day that we were able to immediately reopen the store. I went to the police department, gave my statement, did all the things that I needed to do. The police officers that were both state, local, sheriffs, all that neat stuff, hung out at the station. It was a gas station / convenience store. They hung out that night and for several nights after that with me. But I didn't even think to lock the door. When I called the 911, not 911, the non-emergency line, the lady knew me because, we had talked. And she was like, "Did you lock the door?" And I was like, "No, I did not." I called you. I remember someone had come in to pay for their gas and realized what was going on. They threw their money on the counter and hit the door. And the guy took the money and put it on into the bag that he was putting money into. And as soon as I was speaking with the dispatch operator, there was a police officer who had stopped in to get gas, and I had locked the door, and he heard it over the radio. He was off duty, but he put his badge up against the door so that I knew that it was him. And at the same time, the dispatcher told me, "This is Officer so-and-so. He's going to stay with you until everybody else gets there." It took roughly what seemed like maybe 5 seconds. Could have been minutes, could have been, longer than that. Anyway, the biggest reason why I feel compelled to share this with you, at the time, I thought that it was something because I came back to work literally that same day. I took no time for myself to heal, to deal, or anything like that. What I want to tell you girls, young ladies, if you're working for somebody who's a creep, like I did, who doesn't value your life, who doesn't value you showing up for work, find another place to work. Period. Your life, you're valuable. Your life means something. And just because you work a certain job doesn't take away your worth. So don't work these jobs where these people think nothing of you. If your boss doesn't have enough respect for you, I was under the impression that we had camera surveillance. My boss at the time and the owner of the store was so cheap that there was not even a VHS tape in the camera surveillance, because he felt that it was saving him money to only record during the night. So none of us that worked for him, none of our lives mattered. None of our safety mattered. And there's more that I could talk about on this, but we're just not going to. My point is, you young girls, even some of you older, if you're working for creeps, get out of there. Find a job where you are valued because you're worth it. Just had it on my heart. We rolling into reunion weekend. We're going to have a good one, I hope. Going to get to see some faces that I've not seen in years, decades. I'm excited, extremely excited. I get to see, the cousins that I see on the, normally, but I'm going to get to see ones that I reconnected with through like Ancestry. So yeah, I'm excited. So y'all have a great weekend. I hope this helps somebody. Remember, I'm the mayor's daughter. I love you all. I really do. Have a good evening. I'll see you. Bye.